Whatever show.
You know, you're a kind of slack
spot here.
photographer.
And how do you see girls that like to surf and even like surf big waves?
I think surfing is a pretty awesome and dynamic sport to where men and women can be fairly included on an equal playing field. So it's pretty cool to see women stepping up to the plate. Obviously, the thing about surfing though, it's a very people don't like to admit it, but it's a very Darwinianism culture. I've always said, in the sense that eat or be eaten, only the strong survive. So unfortunately for the women, they kind of get pushed down the pedestal, so they don't get to play on that equal opportunity as I was mentioning. But like I said, the sport is it's a dynamic sport to the sense that like men and women can literally probably get to a fairly similar ground. But like I said, the women are always kind of pushed back down the pedestal just because men are they make the might makes right kind of concept. So women are always off to a kind of a harder start when it comes to surfing. And then you take it to the next extreme, which is big wave surfing. And then, like I was saying, you don't get... I think the issue nowadays, to me, I'm seeing a lot of girls stepping up into the big wave realm, but I think they're skipping a lot of basics. And the fundamentals come from small wave surfing, because you have to have a foundation somewhere. Big wave surfing can tend to be, how should I say it? It's like there's so much going on. There's so much that you have to learn through the whole process, because you're really dealing with Mother Nature at her hardest level, and it's really like life or death when it comes down to it. And I think people kind of seen so many wipeouts and so much extreme surfing, horrendous wipeouts in the sport of surfing, that I really personally think that it's tuned things down, where people don't think that death is really imminent. And obviously, if you surf pipe a lot, you know death is right around the corner at any given moment. But any other big wave, you're seeing people survive through the most horrendous wipeouts. So I think it's kind of giving people a false sense of security, so to speak. But with that being said, I love the progression of women surfing. Obviously, being married to a hardcore surfer like Amelia, and someone who's actually one of the few females who have been able to break the door at Pipeline. Obviously, I helped that door be broken down a little, but with that being said, she still has an impeccable talent. And you can see it. She surfs better than a lot of the clown guys that go out there that pretty much shouldn't be out there. And like I said, she's had the opportunity through me and through other means, just by her pushing and just putting her time in at a spot. So by her putting time in, a lot of the boys really recognize it and are stoked when they see Amelia go for it. So like I said, a lot of it comes from time and earning your respect. And like I said, it goes back to when you're dealing with Mother Nature at her most rawest, gnarliest form. You really can't be affording to skip steps. You have to learn the process. You can't just jump right into it. But I think with towing and jet skiing, and I call them the Oompa Loompa vest, it's kind of giving people this crazy false sense of security. And then I'm going back full circle, again, liking the concept of women's progression. I've been seeing a couple of the chicks charging, like outrageously amazing stuff. And like I said, to see that's you see the guys, they've already reached the pinnacle, but so for the sport of surfing, I think there's something to be said about women. They're still being held down here by the sport being such a male-dominated industry, as well as just physicalities of going out there and trying to get your way from a bunch of dudes. But like I said, women have, the sky's the limit. There's still a lot of progression in the sport of women surfing. So I think the funny thing is they're probably the people who, the women in their little skimpy bikinis and all this money being made from bikinis, I think they're actually keeping the industry alive right now. And I think most men don't like to admit that. That's the reality, yeah. So again, like I said, to see women kind of stepping up their game, and seeing a good batch of men allowing it. You see the chivalry with certain men in the big wave industry allowing these women to finally find their pedestal in the sport. And like I said, Paige Alms, she's pretty much leading the forefront. But she's not an overnight sensation. This girl has pretty much watched Jaws. I think she's towed it even before she paddled it. So she kind of built up to it. It wasn't like she just jumped in overnight and was like, yeah, I'm a hero. I mean, obviously with Instagram and Insta fame and everything lately, people think they can just jump into the mix and skip stepping stones, but it's not a good piece of advice. Always learn the ropes, learn your foundation, and basically you'll be able to survive through a lot of intense stuff that Mother Nature throws your way.
What about El Nino? What do you understand about El Nino and what's this year doing?
El Nino has pretty much been this particular 2015-2016 El Nino season is it started off a real dud. It was like really bad for like the whole early winter season, and as soon as January 2016 rolled into effect, we've pretty much, there's been no rest for the wicked, so to speak. Pretty much anyone who's involved and likes big wave surfing, you're pretty much going non-stop, swell after big wave swell. So it's I think I read somewhere, I don't know if it's Dorian or one of the big wave Maui boys is saying like, we have to go back out. I think in a normal year you get what, maybe 2 to 3 big wave like monster days where you have to survive through and go for it and give it your all. But this year, like I said, everybody's been hot. Like there's no cooling down period. So you gotta sack up and get your cojones back inflated to the proper PSI on a daily level. So it's been pretty interesting. I'm a pipe guy, so I dabble in the big wave realm. So I've been getting equipment together, and the way everybody's been going for it, it's kind of getting me re-inspired, to be honest. So.
And behind you, there's the scaffolding of the Eddy. They're setting up twice this month. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts on the whole Eddy thing and what happened yesterday and what's about to happen?
Oh, what is that? Was I mentioning Instagram, Insta-fame earlier? No, it's like with social media nowadays, it's pretty crazy because I think they really pressure people into certain things that they might not necessarily be into doing. So I think we had that big monster 30-foot swell. It was like 20 to 25 feet with 30-foot epic sets, like probably about 3 weeks ago, maybe about 4 weeks ago. And everybody was so scheduled for, I think with the Big Wave Tour before, the Eddy had the fortunate luxury to be able to cherry pick and pick their days and get the performers here because there wasn't anything spreading the competition out there thin. But now with the Big Wave Tour, obviously everyone's on a track. But the funny thing with the Big Wave Tour is, and it kind of goes totally against what the Eddy is normally about, but this is about picking the biggest, baddest day. Whereas now with the new tour, it's like everything, the show must go on, the show must go on. And I think that's causing a big hurt to basically that industry in the sense that people want to see the biggest, baddest day. They don't want to see something that must go on if it doesn't need to, you know what I mean? So with that being said, like I said, I watched a couple of heats of the Todos event, but I didn't really get too motivated to watch much of it. And I think that was right around the same time the Eddy went. So because the show had to go on there, this didn't get to go. And unfortunately, everyone put in a bunch of hype saying how this should have ran then, and I think it put the pressure on these guys to try and make it happen the following swell. And Mother Nature said, again, I ain't on your schedule. I work on my own schedule, and I think that's what the industry needs to come back in full circle and realize that Mother Nature is her own beast. There's no control in her.
What do you think is going to happen on the next swell? Like,
you want me to be a forecaster now, huh, Bruno? No. So put me on the spot. I put all these guys on the spot. So I guess I'll put myself on the hot seat. I don't know. I think it's going to be whopping. Any way you slice it. Just yesterday's swell was windy and stormy, but you could just see it. It had to have been our biggest swell for the season. I mean, pretty much they shut down the road of Kamehameha Highway, which I want to say is unprecedented. I don't recall ever since I was a little kid them ever shutting down the road for just big waves. Tsunami warning maybe, but not actual big waves. So this next swell is looking like it's destined to be just a thunderbolt. It's going to be big, raw, and no matter what happens, if it doesn't happen out here, I think the planes are going to be pretty booked, and everyone's going to be running over to Maui and going to go get pummeled at Jaws.
everyone is saying the Brock Little swell. Were you inspired by Brock too? What do you think about the Brock Little swell?
Ever since I was a kid, growing up, man, Brock Little has been just such an icon and inspiration, not just to me, but I think any aspiring surfer worldwide, especially big wave surfer. And what was so cool about Brock is he kind of set this precedence where competition wasn't the be-all, end-all. He showed like the path for surfing and the industry, that there can be a different dynamics in this exploration, and obviously not exploiting, but exploring things that are out there that, you know, you can kind of create a different culture to the surfing realm. Like I said, Brock did just such amazing stuff, not just on a big wave level, but just he was an adventurer, and he created, like I said, he created an avenue for me. Like I said, as I got to get picked up by big sponsors, and I was never that competition guy, just on that same note as Brock Little, and like I said, it just created avenues for more surfers, and I think that's what created such a beautiful industry at one point. It was just because like surfing was so dynamic and different and unique than any other sport that was so closed circle and just like stadium oriented, or you know what I mean, point oriented. It's pretty trippy. But again, going back to Brock, it's so devastating that we lost him. But I'm just so oddly fond of that quote he said, in the sense that, I mean, shit, I should have died a dozen times in the past, and it's just so baffling to see how just things work to different people's perspective. But I mean, in the reality, the guy had lived a probably more full life than 3/4 of this earth and human beings on this earth. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's sad to see him go, but at the same token, he's left such a legacy behind, and it'd be awesome to see this event rock and roll for him and for a tribute to good old Brock Little in the days to come. But again, I think even completely from the heavens or wherever Brock's shining down on us, it's like I would think he realizes more than anyone now that Mother Nature has her own course that she's going to dictate towards us. So just roll with it, blow like the wind.
Last thing, he felt like he fought cancer with a good mindset, good spirits.
Yeah, kind of unusual, yeah. Brock in his later days, I mean, you obviously seen the physical body fade, but you could still see the spirit so alive within him. And I don't know, I think this has a legacy and a tribute to him and his own spirit. It's like, it's pretty awesome to see how glowing he was, and knowing that pretty much, you know, like this could be the final days, you know. So I mean, it was an odd thing to just see, but at the same token, it was like, I guess just like how he's always championed life, he just, you know, kind of head up, chin up, and kind of always persevering. And like I said, to just have those spirits, you know, and that state of mind it's amazing. It just shows who he is as a character. I authorized Bruno to kill it off of my image.
I can make money on you.
Oh, you're gonna make money on me? You better give me 1%, right? 1%. Give me 1 penny for every million you make, right? I'm not asking for much, right? You can buy me, you know, whatever you buy. I get the little shed. Give me a tree house.
You need fins.
Yeah, I need fins.